Hi, I'm Madonna, and this is your tip of the day. Today's going to be about EMF sensitivity or hypersensitivity to electromagnetic radiation. So basically, it's when the body builds up an intolerance towards radiation. When I interviewed Arthur Furstenberg last year, he said that even though there are the canaries in the coal mine out there who really feel the radiation, they need their phones off. They can't use GPSs. They know that they can feel machines around them all the time. They're the canary in the coal mines, but it's happening to all of us, whether we're aware of it or not. So I've got protective devices all around the house. I wear all sorts of things on my person so that this is my ring, this is my necklace. I've got things next to my bed. I've got things in my clinic. I've got things for the whole house so that I've got all sorts of protective mechanisms. But when EMFs build up in the body, because they can mess with our cells, it can end up leading to all sorts of neurodegenerative disorders and cancers and stuff like that. So it's really not something to be ignored, because EMFs build up in the gut, the brain, the uterus, and the spine, along with every cell in the body, but particularly in those areas. So that's a real worry when you think about it. So what happens when we get a raised level of EMFs in the body is that we also get a raised level of histamines. So we can end up having all sorts of allergic responses to things. And the two of them attract each other, EMFs and histamines. So between the pair of them, the gut, the brain, the uterus, and the spine, and the gut, the brain, the testicles, and the spine can be quite damaged. So that's just sort of something to think about when it comes to EMFs, but some of the main issues that people can have. And I'm so lucky I've got my bioresonance device, because I'm constantly trying to dull that energy that builds up in my cells from electromagnetic radiation. But people can get everything from skin conditions and headaches, nausea, dizziness, tinnitus, sleep disorders, fatigue, musculoskeletal pains. Heart arrhythmia is a really big one. Don't forget, our heart is it's electromagnetic. Our heart is electromagnetic. It can lead to things like memory and concentration difficulties, anxiety and mood disorders, and also the ability to think suicide would be better than being here. So that's sort of a real problem when it comes down to it. So it's a really good idea to turn your Wi-Fi and your routers off at nighttime. Make sure your phone's on airplane mode a lot of the time when you're not using it. Turn your router off when you're not using it. Opt for wired gadgets when you can. So even things like wireless keyboards, there are so few available. So when my hubby and I go out looking for things, we know we have to spend like half an hour reading through everything, because it's so hard to get wired devices these days. And anything that says smart, I try not to buy it. The other day we were buying a dryer, and of course the guy said, "Oh, these ones have got all these smart things." I'm like, "No, give me a dumb dryer." So we've got to be careful. Smart devices mean that they're connecting us to the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies. So we'll avoid that, shall we? Put your mobile phones, away from your workstation, 3 or 4 feet away, so it's less of a problem. Make sure you get a technological break regularly. Get outside in the sunshine, get your feet on the grass, make sure you're breathing in nature, so you're getting a lot of positive electrons. Try to get out of the phone addiction. Try to have 2 hours per day without screen time outside of work. How hard would that be for most people? But basically, you have to be cautious about medical and healthcare devices that emit EMF. So, X-rays and EMF emitting equipment, so make sure that you try to avoid unnecessary things like that. What I tend to do is get the body's detox mechanisms working, whether or not it's my things like my Renew 28 and my ASEA, whether or not it's my purified zeolites, whether or not it's supporting the liver detoxification, whether it's supporting the brain function with lots of B12 and essential fatty acids and things like that. Whatever symptoms are going on in your body, if we're highly allergic, then you can use lots of things like bromelains and N-acetylcysteine and quercetin and things like that. They also help to break down the spike proteins from COVID-19 and the jabs. So, getting these things into our life is not a bad idea if we're building up a intolerance to EMFs. So EMFs, they are absolutely everywhere. It's getting crazy. And funnily enough, the levels tend to go up at nighttime. So get the mobile phone out of your bedroom, have a clean bedroom so that you're able to ground while you sleep and your cells aren't vibrating all night long with the electromagnetic frequencies. So EMF frequencies are a real problem. I saw this week that in Peru, they are starting to take down the 5G towers because they're realizing how damaging they are to kids. So there's lots of crystals, lots of EMF devices, lots of orgone products. There's lots of protection out there. So do the best you can and start feeling the decrease in that cellular inflammation. But we've got to do it one thing at a time. So just clean up the house that you're living in, clean up your workspace, get the protection in there so that some of the day you are as clear as possible of damage from your devices. Have a great day.